So the first level we have on here is Accu, which in my opinion is a pretty solid level. I never really got frustrated with it at all because of how fun it was for me to play. Although, yes, it is a little choke point based and it can be a little unbalanced because the pre-drop can be a little bit harder. Although I didn't struggle with the pre-drop as much as other people, which gave me a more enjoyable experience. But Accu still really solid. I don't think it's S tier worthy, but I would put it in A tier because, you know, it's pretty solid anyway. But yeah, not enough for S tier. Next is Troll Level, which is a pretty satisfying Extreme Demon, although it can be really choke point based as well. And the pre-drop is like really hard to get the hang of because of how it's really unbalanced in the pre-drop because like slow memory gameplay is like really hard to get the hang of, but it does get consistent still. It still did get consistent for me. Heck, I beat it and rebeat it in 9 attempts a day after I beat it. It got back consistent, but it's still like a pain to learn because of how memory based it is. And yeah, it's hard to understand, but I think Troll Level is like a B tier in my opinion. Next is Forbidden Isle. This level is not inherently bad, but it's not like good either in my opinion. It's like just like in the middle, really average. Like this level can be extremely boring from zero. Now it runs, when you play from the drop on Forbidden Isle, it's pretty fun actually from the drop. It's just really boring to play from zero and you're not going to enjoy it. It's one of the most like skill-based extreme demons though, and you can really like be in really low attempt counts because of how like skill-based it is. It's really sight readable as well, which is a positive for it, but it's also like extremely average in my opinion. So I'm gonna go ahead and see. Next up on the list is Cataclysm, which if you don't know, this is my least favorite extreme demon in the game, but with that said, I don't hate it. It's not like terrible, but it's still like below average. It's really choke point based. It's extremely boring from zero, although the drop at the start of the wave, but you die to the wave like every single attempt because it does get consistent, but it's still like one of the hardest parts of the level. So I think Cataclysm is like a D tier because of how like choke point based it is, how unbalanced it is. It's just not a fun level either. It's an old level that was hacked, so it makes sense. But I really don't like Cataclysm. It's my least favorite extreme. Next up is Lost Love, which is a really satisfying extreme to play. It's like Troll Level, but better, pretty much. It's way more balanced. Sure, the like ball in the middle is like a little bit harder, but it's still like way more balanced than Troll Level. It's also easier than Troll Level in my opinion. But this level is also like really good deco-wise with its atmosphere, and I love how it uses the song and the lyrics as well. It does the vibe it wants to go for really well. And I might put this in like low A tier for like how good it is. Like either high B, low A. I don't know where I'll put it, but I'll put it there. I would 100% recommend Lost Love for getting better at memory as a beginner for Extreme Demons. Next up is Allegiance, which is like a level I expected to hate when going into it, but when I beat it, I was like, that level is not as bad as I thought it was. Like, I enjoyed it the more I played it. It really grew on me the more I played it, because, like, the deco, I still think the deco is not good, but the gameplay was so much better than I thought. Sure, there is so many choke points, you get to the drop every single attempt, but the pre-drop's 40% of the level, so it can be, like, really boring. So, like, for that, I might put it in low C or high B, but, put in B. I'll put in low B. I think it's, like, really fun, though, and runs, definitely. It's just the choke points, like, at the drop are really annoying, especially that one ship is, like, it's, like, 56 or 58. I forget what percentage it is exactly, but somewhere around there. Plus, there's also, like, that one wave that's also really hard, but it's still, like, a pretty decent level, in my opinion. Way better than I thought it would be when going into it. Still, I do not like the decoration, though. Even though it's 2.0, I still don't like it. So next up is Penumbra, which is a pretty decent level. I don't think it's amazing. I think it's just a little bit above average. It's pretty, like, atmospheric in the beginning. It's, like, slow, and I kind of like it, but it can also get boring as well. But once you reach the drop, it's actually really fun at the drop, apart from, like, it being, like, another choke point base again. Like, it's... A lot of these extremes are choke point based, I'm starting to realize. But once you reach the drop there, it's pretty fun, except for that, like, one ship gap that's, like, really dumb to get through. Like, the ship gaps and, like, after that one key part, it's, like, really hard to get the hang of because of, like, how tight it is, and it just kind of doesn't make any sense, which is a thing you would die to a ton. Still, though, Penumbra is, like, a really fun extreme, especially playing it in runs, because, yeah, it can be boring from zero, like I said, but the waves and, like, the swing copter at the end are, like, really fun. Apart from the swing copter being, like, really hard, But I think I'll put Penumbra in B tier, like high B. I don't think it's good for A tier, but I think it's pretty good for B. So yeah, that's where I put it. Next up is Incipio, which is actually one of the best beginner extremes in my opinion. Sure, people hate this level, but I really enjoy it. There is that one part that really sucks. With the like spam and then the ball right after. That part is really bad in my opinion. But that doesn't ruin the level for me, because the rest of the levels are really fun, in my opinion. Sure, it has a really long pre-drop. It's like 60% of the level. But it's a good build-up, because the drop is extremely good, in my opinion. And it also becomes one of the most consistent levels in the game. This level is super consistent after you know what's going on. I literally, like, was able to reach drop, like, so many times on the session I beat it. So yeah, I think I'll put Incipient in low A. It can be better, but yeah, that's where I'll put it. Next is Preceptance, which is a click sync extreme demon. The pre-drop of this level is so much harder than the beginning. That doesn't ruin it for me, but yeah, it can be like really annoying to like not be able to pass a pre-drop for so long. I've had people like complain about like the click syncs also being off, which is a flaw in my opinion. But I still would recommend this level. It's still like a pretty solid extreme demon. It won't take you too long to beat if you're good enough at the game. Although this is definitely like a mid-tier plat in my opinion for difficulty. It's pretty fun overall, so I think I'll put Preceptance in a high B tier. Now Misty Mountains, which is one of the best extreme demons like visually. It's so atmospheric and I love it. But that doesn't make up for like the gameplay, which is like really hard in the first 18%. And once you get after, it's like drops off in difficulty significantly. It still is like really fun after that part, but it sucks playing from the beginning, especially when there's that 2-second wait after every single attempt from 0, and that is so annoying. The level would be so much better if you just didn't have to wait those 2 seconds every single attempt. It's so annoying. But other than that, I still think it's like solid after like 18%, because it's like really fun, especially like with the music. I cannot tell you how cool it feels with the music playing like that at the end of the level. That last duel feels so cool with the intensity of the music. Next up on our list is one of the most unbalanced extreme demons in the tier, which is Meltdown by Darwin. This level is super unbalanced because the pre-drop is so easy, and then once you get to the ship in the middle of the level gets so hard, and I can't tell you how many times I pass the ship compared to how many times I reach a ship. I reached a ship like about 50 times each time, and the amount of times I passed it was like 6, and one of those deaths was at 96. So it's really easy after the ship and before the ship. It's just the ship is so hard. I don't know how you get consistent with the ship. It's so hard. If the ship was more balanced, it could be one of the most fun extreme demons, but like I honestly don't think it's that good, so I'll put it like a low B. It's still decent. It's just so unbalanced. Like it could go up here if it wasn't for that ship. Next up is on our list is Napalm, which is one of my favorite extreme demons in the tier. This level has a really short pre-drop, which is something I really enjoy because you get to the drop really quickly and it's not boring at all to play from 0. It has some really fast-paced gameplay, which is also extremely fun at the drop. And although the level's like pretty unbalanced because it just gets significantly easier as the level goes on. Like the first half is like way easier than the second half, in my opinion. The corridor part is also a little like buggy with like that one way part, in my opinion. But it's still like easy from there on. But like this level was super fun to learn and super fun to complete. So I'd honestly give this level S tier. This is one of the best levels to be placed in Platinum tier. Okay, next up is Artificial Dream, which is a decent level, but I've learned that like this level is not as good as I thought it was when I beat it, because I realized how unbalanced this level is and how like bad it could be in some parts. Like some timings, there's that one timing at the end of the level that's really dumb. I still like don't know where to place this like exactly. Like either like C, like maybe like the middle B, because I think it's like a little bit above average too. So yeah, I'll place it here. It's not the best extreme demon because like the pre-drop is so much harder than the rest, plus like the gameplay doesn't make any sense in some parts because of how like weird it flows. It flows in such a weird way, I don't understand why. There is that one break part in the level 2 that is just significantly easier than the rest. Next is Hypersonic, which is another level I expected to really hate going to, but I honestly really enjoyed it coming out of it. I also fluked this level. I fluked it from 72, which is pretty lucky because Terron's a really hard part. The level is also like really unbalanced, plus the gameplay is structured so weirdly in some parts. It's an early 2.1 level, which makes sense. But this level is like really like unpolished in my opinion. It's pretty buggy as well. I've noticed that playing it. I had to play on lower FPS because of how buggy it was. But it does eventually get like really consistent, plus it's actually like pretty fun if you don't get the bugs and you actually have an enjoyable experience. But for that, because of like the bugs and like messy gameplay, I think I'll put this in like either C or B. I think I'll put this in C. Hypersonic, like, I've realized that it's not as good as I was when I beat it. Sure, it's like okay, it's decent, but like it's super unpolished. So I'm just playing C tier because of how much I realize it's not as good as I thought it was. Next up is a Reflective, which is one of the most well-decorated extreme demons in the game, in my opinion. Although it's extremely laggy still on like full detail, so I would warn you not to play this on full detail unless you're okay with dealing with lag. But about like the level itself, the gameplay, I think this level is really boring from zero. Although the build-up's pretty cool. There is that one spider part, by the way, in the middle of the level I just remembered. That spider part is like really high CPS. It's really hard to get the hang of if you're really bad at high CPS gameplay. So I would warn you about that too. But yeah, the pre-drop is 40% of the level, although the rest of the levels are really fun as well. It does end on a weird note as well, because like, I don't know what this like black screen is, like just appearing out of nowhere and then fading out. Like, that was a little like unpolished, it felt like. But the level otherwise is like a really good level. It's a flow level, by the way. It flows extremely well, in my opinion. It's not that buggy. It's not a buggy level at all, actually, for being a flow level. So yeah, Reflective, I think I would actually put this in like A tier because of how like well like polished it is apart from the ending. Next is Reverence, which is also another flow level. Although the waves on this level are significantly harder than the rest of the level. There's that one wave in the middle of the level that like just doesn't make any sense really. It gets consistent. It's really satisfying once you actually do the wave, because the waves in this level are so satisfying once you learn them. It feels so rewarding to like pass the parts, and it's so fun. This level is also really well decorated as well, and it's actually really well optimized for how well decorated it is. And I would really recommend this one. But yeah, the waves are definitely choke points in this level. Nothing else to really say about it as well. But I think I put this in a high A tier as well. Next up is Awakening Horse, which is a level I also hated when I was like learning it because of how like weird it was. But I realized like how fun like the boss fight in this level was. It's really good. It's one of those learning levels as well. The pre-drop on this level, actually though, I think about the pre-drop. The pre-drop on this level is not that good really. The pre-drop feels like buff medium demon gameplay in my opinion. It's just structured weirdly in my opinion. It's also a lot harder than the rest of the level, but the drop is like really cool. It's another one of those levels that's also like really fun and runs. The ending though on this level is also like jank though. There's that one thing with like the hearts, like it's really hard to like gather the hearts. Although you can cheese it and get past the boss fight without touching the hearts, but still like really dumb, those hearts. But the rest of the boss fight's pretty good. So I think I put this in like a B tier in my opinion. Next is Retention, which is like really fun. It took so long for me to learn though, but once you learn this level, it's one of the most fun extreme demons in the game. The ending is like significantly harder than the rest of the level though. There is like the last few clicks of the level, they are so hard to get the hang of. Plus the duels are like also like really tedious. I don't understand why they're like as tedious as they are, but they are. But it's still like one of the most fun extreme demons to play that's really learning. Plus the pre-drop's actually not that boring. It has a really nice build up to it, and I honestly really like it. Despite it not being that short, it's still a pretty good pre-drop in my opinion. So I think I put Retention like A tier in my opinion. Okay, now Daydream. I know how you all know how I feel about Daydream. It's my favorite level in the game, so this is automatically S tier, but I want to talk about some more. Because I love this level. It was one of the most enjoyable experiences I had playing the game. This level was so fun to me because of how, like, the gameplay just flows so well. I had such a good experience with this level, bro. It was so fun. The music's so good as well. It was a blast to learn, and despite, like, me dying to the 95 ball at the end somehow. I still really enjoyed this level. It also has a pretty short pre-drop as well, and it's also like pretty fast paced as well, and I really liked it for that. Nothing else to say really, but yeah, that's my favorite level in the game right there. It was so fun for me. Next is Fair and Frenzy, which is like a really unpolished level. This is the longest level in the Platinum tier as well. It's basically just Omicron if it was easier, but it's also like not that bad. It's not as bad as I thought it was gonna be. It looks really unpolished and like really like jank, but it's honestly like done really well and also like a lot more than everyone else thinks. So I think I put like Fair and Frenzy in like B tier maybe. I think it's like better than like I thought it was gonna be, but yeah, Fair and Frenzy is like B tier. Windstorm next. This level, it was really good actually. Like the structuring, it looks really weird because it has a lot of vertical movement, but that actually made it a lot more fun than I thought it would be. Like you see like the spider, the robot, the ball at the beginning, like just the beginning looks really weird because of all the vertical movement, but it's so much better than I thought. Plus it syncs really well to Poltergeist somehow. I don't know how they were able to make a level sync that well to Poltergeist. So I'd honestly put that in like A tier. That level was so much better than I thought it was gonna be. It was really good. Next is Necropolis, which is a remake of my least favorite level, Necropolis. And Necropolis is just Necropolis if it was so much better. This level balances out Necropolis and makes it just such a nice level, and it's actually like really good. It makes the memory parts harder, which were like the easiest parts in Necropolis. So it balances out the level so much better. And I love it for that. It's so good for how well balanced it is. I honestly don't have like any negatives really to say about it, although like it didn't hit me as hard as some other levels. But I think I put Necropolis in like B tier because it's just so much better than Necropolis. Like Necropolis is one of the worst levels in the game. Necropolis is just so much better than that, and I really like it for that. Okay, next is Hurricane, which is probably like the most well-decorated extreme demon in the tier, unless you count Reflective. Reflective or Hurricane, they're the most decorated extreme demons in the Platinum tier. But this level is also like extremely good, but it's so choke point based. This level is really choke point based. There is a lot of choke points in this level, and that really brings it down. Plus the level has like a weird like second drop. Like it has the first drop and then it goes into like slow gameplay again, and then has a second drop after that, which is pretty cool. I like the progression, but like it's not fast paced all the way through like Cyclone is, but I still like really enjoyed this level. Yeah, there's nothing really else to say, really. I'm just gonna put it in A tier. But yeah, it would be S tier if it wasn't for how choke point based this level is. Like, there is so many choke points in this level. Like, there's that 77 wave, there's those like 2 green orbs at 81 that I died to like 4 times out of the 6 times I reached it. It was so choke point based, bro. I can't believe how choke point based that level was, especially at the ending. And I got pretty lucky flipping it as well. But yeah, it's pretty good. Just if you're gonna have choke points, I would recommend it, but like other than that, yeah, it's really choke point based. All right, next up is Now Dead, which is a pretty good level for 1.9. I can't believe this was, if you didn't know, this was on the Insane Demons list. It was an Insane Demon for some time somehow, and this is one of the harder extreme demons in the Platinum tier, I think. This level is like okay. It has a really hard pre-drop for some reason. The pre-drop was like really hard for me like to get the hang of, but still like really fun after the pre-drop. Although yeah, there are still choke points, and that's inevitable in any level, but like I think this level is okay with it. There is that one wave in the middle level that with the skip, by the way, but without the skip it's like really difficult for some reason. I don't understand why. Plus the ending is so like jank for some reason. Like I don't understand like why I died to that ending like so weirdly. Like there were so many weird like ways to die at the ending, and I died there a ton because how like unpolished it was. But I still would give this like a B tier in my opinion. But yeah, the ending of this level kind of sucks, I won't lie. And then the last level on my list is Cat Planet, which is really unbalanced, by the way. I think like in runs this level is really fun, but playing it from 0 is so boring because of how easy the pre-drop is. You get to 40% every single attempt, and then you die to the waves. It's just so unbalanced. I don't know really what to think of it. Sure, the waves are really fun, but I'll put this in C tier. It could be so much better if it was way more well balanced, or if the pre-drop was shorter. That would also be nice. But yeah, I'm gonna put Cat Planet in C tier because of how unbalanced the level is. So yeah, that's my Platinum tier for GDP right there.